In 20 years, I think we'll be in some kind of Bitcoin standard. Bitcoin just is superior. We already just won. We did have inflation since ever. Like, we've been born with this shit. We are used to have 2 digits of inflation monthly. Yearly, 150 to 100% of inflation. Last year, we have 1% daily inflation rate. So you can imagine that there's a super mess. Bitcoin thrives with a stupid government. Bitcoin actually just turned me into a libertarian. I have actually a tattoo here with Bitcoin and the libertarian serpent. Bitcoin separates money from state.
Money is the most important thing to fix, and everything else is second.
The Bitcoin utopia would be that we don't talk about that thing. We wouldn't need to talk about how to fix money because money would be just Bitcoin. The more users, the more nodes, the more channels you do have, the better it works.
Do you think that Lightning will be the main layer 2, the glue that binds everything together?
Yeah, I absolutely think that. Actually, if you want, I can just tell you how I feel that Bitcoin gonna end up. Actually, I have a way of explaining this. Is Bitcoin has 3 layers. One layer, the first one, will be the blockchain, which is meant to just reserve of value, like digital gold. This is the blockchain. Then you have the second layer, which I do believe it's Lightning. I think it's integrated naturally and natively with Bitcoin. And the layer zero will be the people, which is the community. With no people, with no community, with no humans, with no like a group of people that just actually are agree, like you said, agree with this kind of protocol. There's no layer one, no layer two. So I think honestly that layer two is definitely Lightning. I don't know, Arc can just play along with it, but definitely I do believe it's Lightning.
Interesting, yeah, really cool, perfect. And let's get it. You're from Argentina?
Yeah.
Very cool. What's going on in Argentina with Bitcoin currently?
Well, Bitcoin is not well known, like broadly known. Argentina is for crypto related. It's really adopted. Like we have a lot of apps that you're able to just handle crypto, especially USDT. So USDT is super popular here. It used to be super popular for many years because of the inflation rate is so hard. People were not used to use ours like peso, their local currency. So the US dollar is for many years was always the popular currency for people to just have savings. So the USDT was like a perfect way to just handle digital money because the government was always it was forbidden to just people just buy US dollars. So you have always to go to the black market, and the USDT was a perfect solution for this. So then people started using crypto, and Bitcoin was always like used, not massively, but we have a strong community, at first grassroots community since, I don't know, 2011, 2013, just back here in Buenos Aires. Actually, I have co-founded the Bitcoin space here in Argentina as well in 2013.
Oh, 13 already. That is early for Bitcoin. Really cool. What made Bitcoin so easy for you to understand so early on?
Well, that's the perfect question. Actually, I think we Argentinians get Bitcoin kind of naturally. It's not that everybody gets it instantly, but I think it's easier for us because we do know we are like sons and daughters of inflation. We did have inflation since ever. Like, we've been born with this shit. So I'm sorry. Are you able to like swear a little bit?
Of
Is it
course you
allowed?
can. Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. Um, well, the thing is, we are used to have 2 digits of inflation monthly. So yearly, 150 to 100% of inflation. Last year, we ended with it was calculated because we have 1% daily inflation rate. So you can imagine that there's a super mess. super mess. People don't value. We are Argentinians. We have a natural way of thinking about money because we don't. We are used to not having the or not using the official currency that the government provides. So we have like yeah, we are used to that. So that's the thing. We are naturally born to not obey the government, not only with their own local currency that they just want us to use. We are used to have 3 blocks away everywhere. You have these cuevas that are like special places where you can just exchange US dollars in the black market because it's illegal to buy US dollars. So even though they just don't want us to buy dollars, we do it anyway. And we did it so strong that the market the US dollar market price, like the black market price, is actually in the newspaper, has been there for many years. So the government is like, they don't even fight back for that thing. They just know that most of the people just have their money, like how we call here at the how do you say in the you have your bed at the bottom of your bed. Like we have
Oh,
that kind of
the
saying
mattress, the mattress.
at the mattress. Okay. Well, we have that saying too here. So, and people, the thing is, from 2001, the banks took all our money. So we don't trust the government and we don't trust banks. So we are naturally, we have an active rebellion against government and banks. So when you tell someone how money works, you don't have, you can just skip all the inflation part. The Argentinians do know that emission causes inflation, so we already know that. That's the cool thing about it. I've spent I spent like a year in New Zealand trying to. I always try to push Bitcoin to everyone. I'm like a Bitcoin psychopath. I don't think you can spend more than 5 minutes with me without I introducing Bitcoin to the conversation. So when I was in New Zealand, I tried to just explain Bitcoin to people, and it was really hard because most of the people didn't know what inflation was. They didn't know that that you if you print money you get inflation. They didn't know that. They like it was like no, it doesn't happen, and the inflation is done by the supermarkets or whatever. They don't even get that. So Argentinians do have this. We do have that thing just naturally in our daily lives.
That's super interesting when we think about the implications if the government or a country or central bank is losing control of the currency. This obviously then gives the people also a reason to question everything else the government is doing. And like once you force people to disobey you because your currency is not working and you want to use other currencies just to survive, you open the door for a population being completely not respectful of the government, which I think is a good thing to a certain extent. The best situation would be that the government is doing great things and there's a lot of trust in the population to the government because the government is doing good things. But of course, if they're doing bad things, it should reflect to a certain extent. How strict are rules right now in Argentina? How free can you live? And the second question to that is, how hard are those rules kind of enforced?
Well, there's kind of a paradox. Like I think the same way. Like if the government makes the bad things or is so it behaves like a drunk uncle, like what are you doing? Like that we have a lot of laws, like unnecessary laws and unnecessary rules that they just ruin everything. So what people started to do is just ignore the rules, and like 50% of the economy is black market. So the thing with this is we are really used to just ignore the government, or at least just find loopholes to find a way out of all those stupid rules. So the even the politicians don't obey these rules. It's well known. So the thing is, in regards of freedom or liberty of if you look for Argentina in a I don't know top 100 countries that with freedom indexes or whatever. Well, Argentina is really low. So you would say, oh, okay, they don't have freedom, right? Yeah, we don't have freedom in regards of legal system, but in the actual stuff, you nothing happens if you don't pay taxes. Nothing, no, nothing happens. So the thing is, if you don't do the things like the correct way, you can get over it. Like there's no problem. So now with Milei, that things are going really much better in and like the economy is going such much better. So we came from hell, okay? So he's just fixing the inflation thing, and it's becoming like a country, at least a serious country for investors, so people just come in. But once it gets super serious, well, the institutions will start to just running okay and making the correct things and gonna be more efficient. Once they become more efficient, maybe those rules that were supposed to be ignored now they're gonna be just applied like they should be. So maybe you lose freedom, like making the good things and making the government efficient would actually be a little bit worse for us because we are used to just not obey them. So I wouldn't say that like a more serious and better government would be better for us. Actually, the paradox is I think Bitcoin thrives in with a stupid government. If the government is just crazy, well, Bitcoin thrives. Bitcoin was super thriving. And the fact when I just to pitch Bitcoin is way easier to pitch it when you have like the peso was like a shitty currency. And I was always have to point that. Actually, my example was always, well, the US dollar is for the peso what the Bitcoin is for the dollar. So now for freedom, it's like um, I would say we are more free in regards of the legal system. I would say that, and we're gonna be much better. We need to be much better because it's a mess to having all these kind of things.
Yeah, and Argentina has an impressive history of currency collapses. They have sometimes only a currency for like 3, 4 years and then a new one. And I think we made once an episode, I forgot his name, once an episode with an Argentina here on the podcast where he talked through all the currencies we used that Argentina used since like the last 50 or 100 years. And it was like, yeah, like we had this and this happened after this year. We got a new one. Like it's like, oh, like, there's a bunch. Like it's really hard to keep an overview of all the currencies that Argentina had in the last 10, 20, 50, 100 years.
Yeah, like 50 years back, yeah, we probably have like five different currencies. Yeah, definitely. They destroyed and back again. And it's really weird because it's like when currency collapses, it's like the illusion of money just disappears. So you have to manage to get everybody on board to a new currency and get all these like trust again. We actually have when the 2001 economic collapse that banks took all our money. We have four presidents in a week, four different presidents because they try like, oh, can this man handle this? Do we trust him? No, fuck. And then they just switch to four different ones to make the consensus to just. It's super weird that people were rioting. It's super weird when that happens because the money is the things you can't touch. Don't mess with that. It's like messing with the language. It's the value language. It's a complete chaos if you don't fix that. It's super important.
As I said it, I should pull it up. I found the video. It was with Ariel Aguilar, and this was a great video. Like, if you want to know what's what went wrong with Argentina the last 50 years, or I don't know how far we went back. We went back a good amount, and what currencies they had and stuff like that, and why Bitcoin is going like that. That's a great episode, and we went deep there. But yeah, it's interesting, the Argentina history. I wasn't aware before that episode, before I recorded that it was that bad. I thought like they maybe had like one currency or two currencies and it just hyperinflated. But if you have to reinvent a new currency, this means the previous currency was really bad.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, it's really difficult when they just create a new currency to just sustain it. And always the problem is, I always say, I love this phrase. Everybody's super popular in Bitcoin world. Fix the money, fix the world. So the thing is, the problem is that the government is always overspending. So if you don't fix that, there's no currency that just can handle that, because you always have to just create new demand for that money, that new printed paper. And it's always the same thing. Some governments, they just overspend, they just ruin the currency, and then it hyperinflates, and they just pretend to create a new currency and just like, okay, we're gonna start all over. But have you fixed the spending problem? No, but we're gonna sort it later. No, you won't. Like you wanna start printing again, and you're gonna just break it again. It always happens the same thing. I think there's statistics. I would check this number. Like fiat currencies that die, they have like 27 life expectancy. Like they just die. And well, we have less with with Argentinian's currency. Actually, you should check that. But yeah, it's a really in Argentina is one of the top conversations right now. It's not going on because the inflation rate just went down super. This is like an economic miracle. Milei just did it in less than a year. It's the people are crazy. Humor here is changed. People are able to just. It's really weird for you to just go and see the price of 27 years.
27 years apparently. But yeah, sorry, gone.
No, no. The thing is, sometimes it's really weird for us that we're really used to inflation, is that you go and see the price of milk the same price as the week before. That is weird for us. It's weird. Super weird. Like, what do you mean it's the same price? Like, and no. And it was, you know how crazy it is for some people to just, it's really difficult to make things work in the economy. And sometimes when I remember that time, I can't believe how could we do it. Like how can you manage providers like the merchants, or just plan for 3 months? So the prices of things you have to just negotiate every time. With my employees, I have to negotiate again the salary every, I don't know, every 2 weeks. It's every time you lose a lot of time, super inefficient.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that we don't talk about a lot. Every time you have hyperinflation, as you just described, you have to have a lot of conversations, a lot of more inefficiencies in contracts and in the whole economic system. But then also, like if you have a new currency, there's a lot of things that come with that. That is just like you have to spend a lot of money to create a new currency and do all those things. How was it for you? Did you live your whole life in Argentina?
Yeah, I lived my
So
whole life.
so how was it for you to live in Argentina the past? How old are you? 30, 35?
38.
30? Oh, I'm not that bad in guessing. 30, 35 I would have said. Perfect. Yeah. How was it the last 38 years to live in that country? What did you see?
Well, I really love Argentina. I really love Argentina. Even though we got this all mess, this chaos, I think it's part of the culture. I love our culture, honestly. Like, I wouldn't change the country for now. I'm really proud of my country. I used to not be proud of my country before Malay. I was always bitching about like the people here is super like everything is politics here. People are used to have political discussions every time, every time. And here in Argentina, you never get bored. Never, never. Like always, you just turn on the TV, and just a random stuff is going on. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's a riot. Maybe there's. Yesterday there was a lot of, empanadas. There
No,
was
no clue what that is.
the empanadas are like a local food here. It's just a piece of thing, stuff inside, like with and the thing is, it is really popular here, and just a lot of people dressed like empanadas were just playing around in the middle of the streets. Just I don't know whether reclaiming people claim things here. People we are half Spanish, half Italian, so the people are really passionate about. We are really bond each other, and the thing is, sometimes if you have to, I the thing is, I started to appreciate some things of Argentina when I lived in New Zealand for a year, and I saw what a first country looked like living there, first world country. And the thing is, a lot of things actually work there, but with Argentina is with the people. We have like the people is really different. Like you bond in a way that you're able to just invite the people in. We are more like friendly. People lie a little bit more because it's more they are like used to just bend the rules sometimes. So you have to trust the people. You got to create a proper bond so that doesn't happen. Sometimes the thing I don't like about Argentina is our unpunctuality. People don't show on time. Don't show on time. So for Tanya,
You came here on time today for the recording.
I I did it. Yeah, I did it. But for Tanya, for example, when I have to meet her, well, I show on time, but there are sometimes like I do an effort to do that because here, if you just say 9 a.m., people don't show up. They show up at 9:30, and no, not without even an excuse nor a sorry, not an apologize. Okay, just 30 minutes later. That's it. And the thing is. I was really. My parents always told me to just. I always knew how the government kind of worked. My parents were really politic people. Politics. I mean, they always knew. They always have to just talk. Like our house at home, we were used to just talk about politics or the economy. Like, I'm a libertarian. If you ask me, I would say I would like to live in a country that I don't know what's the name of the Ministry of Economics. Like, I don't know what's the name of the president. I would like to live in a place that the government is just an administrator, but it doesn't make rules every time. In Argentina, we are really super used of having the government just having new rules all the time. All the time, a new rule comes in. I think Europe is coming to. I don't know if you have that kind of situation right now there, but I think it's beginning to happen. But in Argentina, we're super used to that. And here we got a lot of football. We got a lot of passion. Like people get super passionate. Like it's super heavy. Well, people get fun of everything. It's really normal in Argentina that people make fun of something and just create a community, a large community of that. It doesn't matter what. People are really passionate about that.
I guess that's why Messi is like such a huge figure also in Argentina. He got so far, and it's a big passion of people with football and with soccer. And Messi is just like a really big one. I think I found the food. If you mean that, I'm really interested also in different foods. I really like tasting new foods when I'm in new countries. Is that what you talked about? Empanada?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. How would you describe an empanada? Yeah. Yeah,
An
exactly. A
empanada is a
pastry.
type of a baked or fried turnover consisting of pastry and filling common in Spain, other Southern European countries, North African countries, Latin American countries, and the Philippines. I mean, a lot of countries then. I never heard about that, but it looks very delicious, to be honest.
Yeah, you have multiple stuffing inside. You have meat, ham and cheese. You have multiple flavors. Yeah, it's really popular in Latin. In like all South America, it's super popular. We have some. You have different versions. Some of them are larger or smaller, but most of them are that. And the thing is, the food. Well, here we have a. This is a country of the meat. We eat meat. So the carnivore diet, you can definitely do it here. We are super fan of meat. We do know all the cuts. You get a random Argentinian and he knows what the cut. Okay, this is a part of the cow. Like we do know that. Sometimes people just come here, foreigners, and say, "Okay, I want beef," and we say, "What do you mean beef? What part? What?" It's like I going somewhere else and say, "I want vegetables." What do you mean vegetables? What vegetable? So we do know the parts of the meat very well. As people coming here, just if you're a vegetarian, vegan, you gotta have a really bad, you gotta have problems here. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to do it here. It's like meat only, and then you have a little bit of. You're gonna always find a different restaurant. We have a lot of different options, but the normal ones are always meat. It's meat. This is the country of the meat.
Country of the meat. I think Bitcoin. It's a good country then for Bitcoiners. I think it's a great country actually for people that save their stored their financial energy in Bitcoin. People that have maybe an income from all over the world that doesn't depend on one country. So they have income basically globally, and then they can maybe have some savings that they can spend in US dollar in Argentina. With diet, there's probably a lot of meat going on. So it seems to be a great place for Bitcoiners who are independent of location.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't lie if I would tell you this is the best moment to just use your financial energy. I would just make a bet on the country because we're trying to solve all the issues that happened. If you came 2 years ago, the prices were three times less. You could actually get an apartment in the like downtown. Uh, I don't know, 90 meters squared, 90 square meters. Sorry, for $300. Then you could have like beef, like a dish, beef, good quality for $3. It used to be super cheap, extremely cheap. Then it now it's more expensive. It's definitely more expensive. Sometimes people say that we are just trying to figure out all the prices. Just remember, we came from a lot of inflation, so people need to like the free market needs to just run to fix the things up. So the merchants, like people, need to learn again. Hey, don't buy this place because we were really used to buy the same places somewhere else because you didn't have the correct signals, so you didn't know what was the price of things. So now people are trying to get used, and the people need to learn to if something is way too expensive, just don't buy it. I'm sorry. Don't ask the government to just try to control prices. You need to do it on your own. So we are kind of that kind of phase, but definitely it's a very good place to just use your as you said your financial energy here. Definitely, you're able to just use that because you're able to convert it right away. Right away, you have a lot of places. You don't even have to. If you come, I know most people would say, "What are you saying?" Like we have like a lot of Germans that came along and said, "But that's illegal." Of course, it's illegal. People are like, just if you come here, you're gonna do illegal stuff. I'm sorry. You're like, that's it. That's the country. Like it's a normal thing. Like people sometimes they freak out and say, like, "But what happens if the no?" It's not. So, for example, let me tell you just an example. that Tania, for example, was really crazy about it. We make parties in La Crypta. We have a big house there, and to as neighbors, just sometimes it's not too loud, but the neighbors just the bitch anyway. And what happens is you can have this sorted out with the police directly. So you just talk to them and sort all the stuff with them and negotiate with them. It's weird, but it has to be done. It has to be done. It's the only way, because people here is people are really used to do that stuff. Maybe you just, if you want, you can skip that part to do not do the recommendation in the podcast, whatever. You're free to do it
The,
or
the,
not. I really
don't
like.
do illegal stuff except you are in Argentina.
Yeah, I know. I know it's weird. It's turning around. We're becoming a first world country, and the thing with Messi, what you said, it's really important. It's really important because something changed in the country, like the values of the country changed. We used to have Maradona. You know Maradona,
Diego Maradona, of course.
Diego Maradona. Well, this is an unpopular opinion. I might get killed by saying this, but this guy was, I hate him so much, even though he's yeah, super. Yeah, the thing is, he was, as I mentioned, we are super fan and sometimes fan of people. And the thing is, Maradona was like a god, like a popular god here, like an idol. Okay. And the thing, he was worshipped here, worshipped that people have like a church. Like, it was crazy. So the thing is, this guy just came from really low parts of like social economics, really poor. And the thing is, this guy just ruined his life personally. He had a very good professional life, but his personal life, he just left a lot of sons just abandoned. He beat his wives, just have a drug himself. He was with the communists. He went to Cuba. He was with a girl of 15 years old. He was not, definitely not a good example for society. He ruined a good opportunity to make good example for the people. So what happened is, when he died, he was like alcoholic, all the sins you can expect by a guy. Okay. And the thing is, people worship him and consider that, like, okay, it's part of our culture. Like, you should understand him. Like, we humans are like that. That's genuine. He's a real human being. And the thing, I never respect him. When he died, I actually have shit posting and got hate, a lot of hate. I received a lot of hate, but a lot of people were thinking the same thing. And when Messi came along, the thing that Messi was missing is that he never won a World Cup, never. And Maradona did. So when Messi kind of took over, we won the World Cup, and Messi became, he was actually an idol, but then nobody could say that Maradona was better than Messi. Like, now Messi just won him in every time, every party you can imagine. So Messi is a good example. He's a good dude. He's an honest guy. He's humble. He has a family. So that kind of thing, it might look weird for people, but here is super important to have this kind of an idol, this kind of an example. Remember that Argentina has 50% poverty. Just picture that. 50% of the country is lower class. So a lot of people just watch this kind of idols to follow that example. So Messi is a really good example of this.
Yeah, I didn't knew about Diego Maradona, that he did all those things. Honestly, I just know him as a soccer player, as a football player. But yeah, Messi is a big one. Everyone knows him. Like, he's one of the few people on earth that are recognized wherever they go. Like there's like maybe Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe The Rock Johnson, maybe Donald Trump. Like there's only like a few handful of people that have such a unique personality that is so widely known that you can put them anywhere in the world and people recognize him. And if you can connect that with something positive and being a role model, I think that's really powerful. And that's really something that you should strive for. And I agree with you. It's sad when people in that position not use that for something good and for a positive role model. That's a missed opportunity right there. And I fully wholeheartedly agree with you here.
Definitely, it's the role model is like people tell me, okay, you should be in that position. You know, this guy came from nowhere. He came from hell. He started going up, and he just went crazy with all that thing because he wasn't prepared. Nobody would be prepared just going that high, just from the low class and going just. Yeah, I know that, but it's not that Messi was rich or something. He like you have good examples. I don't like that kind of excuse that just excuse everything because this was a really difficult position. I do value Messi being having that kind of role model, and some things change in Argentina as well. So you already know this saying, right? Everybody knows this, and it's really popular. The thing, like weak men make hard times hard time. Yeah, you already know. So I do believe that we had really hard times here. We have the woke people just taking over here, and a lot of things changed. Like when Maradona died, we won the World Cup. We got Messi, that we had a very good role model. Actually, the football team, when they came here to just party and celebrate of this thing, they didn't go with the government. They usually go with the government because it's like the representation of Argentina. They historically the football team, the official team, always at least have a picture with the president. This didn't happen here. So they just say, no, we don't know, we don't want to mix it with politics and whatever. Though that was a message that they didn't want to just, not even a picture. So that changed. A lot of people just say, okay, what's going on? Like if our official team, our gladiators are not respecting this kind of movement, this government, a lot of people just started watching, and then Milei came along, and Milei just, Milei already. He's a guy with balls. He did like a skyrocket trajectory. Like he pushed really hard. He was in every TV show. He was really hard. I don't know if we want to talk about him, but he did a lot. Like he's pushing for the culture battle here really, really hard. And he was super aggressive.
I partnered up with Coin Vigilante. This is the most beautiful Bitcoin timepiece that I ever saw created by anyone. Look at that beauty. I love it so much. Coin Vigilante made a perfect Bitcoin watch. That's the perfect, subtle, elegant way to go out there and show that you are a Bitcoiner. And that watch brand is Bitcoin only. And Coin Vigilante just dropped a completely new and amazing Genesis edition of their watch collections. You have the date of the first ever mined Bitcoin block in there, and of course also the block height and which epoch we are currently in. I love the level of detail they put in this masterpiece, and make sure to check out those amazing Coin Vigilante timepieces down in the descriptions. I love those watches so much. If you watch or listen to my podcast on a regular basis, I guess you already bought some Bitcoin. And now the most important step is to keep their Bitcoin. Keep them secure in a hardware wallet. My personal recommendation for hardware wallet is the BitBox. It's super secure. It's simple to set up. It's also a perfect gift for a friend who has still their Bitcoin on an exchange. And you can get a 5% discount with the code Robin at the checkout. Visit bitbox.swiss/Robin to get your BitBox. And the next step is to really level up your sovereignty as an individual. You have to have the most secure self-custody setup. You have to secure your own devices. You have to protect your privacy. You have to set up an inheritance plan. And depending on where you live, you even want to have a plan B, a citizenship where you can move in case something goes really, really wrong. And through all those steps, the Bitcoin way is guiding you through step by step. And if you visit thebitcoinway.com/partners/Robin, you even get a 30-minute free call to find out how you can level up your sovereignty.
I think that's really interesting with Javier Milei, like what has changed with him and in Argentina and what was he trying to do? Obviously with Bitcoin, what I like, just to give you context, what I know about Javier Milei, he is really for Austrian economics, but I don't know if he fully grasps what Bitcoin actually is, because he always opens up Bitcoin, but also other cryptos. And that he wants to destroy the central bank, which I think really is a good step. But he also wants to dollarize the country, which is probably way better to have US dollars than your own currency, especially if it hyperinflates with that history. And that he just wants to destroy a lot of government agencies, which I'm also a big fan of. That's kind of the frame that I know now about Javier Milei. What I don't know is like what he actually did right now in Argentina. What is his plan, and where does he want to go, and what he's actually trying to push?
Well, the best thing he did for Argentina, as he's still doing it, is the cultural battle. That the cultural battle is the best. It's the best. He was doing a pretty good job before being president. So the thing he did is he actually just went to everywhere and just point the problem out. This is socialism. You're just a bunch of motherfuckers trying to rule us all. You're liars. And this thing kind of exploded in the lockdowns as well. Everybody was the lockdowns was a lot of people. A lot of things happened for Milei to just make this. The lockdowns were actually, again, this is a paradox, but sometimes you need bad things for you to get stronger. You need those. And the lockdowns, the current government at that time was exposed, super exposed for a lot of people. And Milei was always fighting against, like, if you see his videos 3 years ago, 4 years ago, he was just yelling, "You leftist motherfuckers," just out loud in the middle of a TV show, every time with 7 people just fighting against him. And he was telling the truth. Everybody was saying, this guy represents me. And actually, people were just arguing about his way of saying things. They said, okay, he might be right, but he would just lower the tone. No, the tone is correct. This is an emergency. We have 50% poverty, and it's going down every time. The politicians are fucking rich. What are you going to say? They are just lying, and they have the media as well. They have all the concentrated power. They want to just send us back to Venezuela. We have a lot of people in La Crypta, for example, the biggest Bitcoin community in Argentina, actually, like 20%, 30% of the people are Venezuelans. The Venezuelans are part of the Argentinian revolution as well. Those come from hell. They came from hell. They came from socialism. So Milei just pointed out this problem. He said, like, okay, you socialists are just liars. Woke people are just liars. Some people do defend socialism because they are ignorant. Some of them because they just lie, because they have guilt and say, okay, we should do that, but they don't have any time, nor they don't want to make the effort to just learn a little bit about economics. So what do you need to do to just fix the poverty? So Milei was incredible. The thing when he just he was making the cultural battle really well. So the politicians didn't make shit anyway. They didn't give a shit. They just mock him. They said, like, "Oh, this guy he's crazy. He would never like. Well, what do you mean? He won't be in politics." So he couldn't walk down the street without people just a group of people just stopping him and say, "Please save the country." He couldn't go to a restaurant. No, he couldn't walk down the street. He couldn't. All the people just stopping him by and say, "Please, you need to get into politics." And then he said, "Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna get inside and kick them off." Like, okay, he did that in just less than a year. He went to like a senator here. It's a deputy. I don't know how it's called in English. He wanted there, but you have like 250 senators, and he was just him, and the now vice president. There were two versus 250. So people say, what are you going to do with that? You're not going to change anything. He pushed in the Congress hard. He fight hard there. People, he said that was his plan. He said, I'm going to just expose all them. Expose all them. Every time like someone just calls for a tax raise or whatever, I'm going to expose them. I'm going to yell. The same thing you see in TV show, I'm going to yell here in the Congress. I'm inside. So he started pushing there. And then all his campaign for presidential campaign, that was like people were crazy. What are you gonna be president? Really? So all his campaign, he didn't have to put a single dollar. He had in front of him all the power, all politicians, all the money, all the corporations, everything. With a lot of money, well, they were just printing money, just give the money to poor people to buy them votes. And like super, just picture yourself this 40 years all politics, everyone together. And this guy without money, the only campaign he did was, okay, he said it aloud and it was like that. In social media, he said, okay, I'm gonna go to a mall, and he just put it in Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, and he said, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna be in this mall at 6 p.m. So he went there, full of people, exploding of people. Everybody was just taking picture with him. You know the cool picture. He's always like this. People were mocking him. Anyway, that everybody want to get this picture. So a lot of people taking that picture, a lot of people posting online, a lot of people just taking videos, whatever, trying to talk to him. He wouldn't even walk 100 meters. He was stopped. Like everybody was crazy. That was his campaign. The people wanted him to rise. The people was like, it was so evident that the people wanted. No, a single politician had that in all. I have never seen that in my country. Never. And I think nothing never happened in the history of Argentina. This kind of popular demand for him to just come. Remember, he's super rude. Super rude. It was crazy for him to. It's still crazy now. Sometimes I can't believe that he's the president. And he's the same guy. He's just insulting them still, and that's the beauty of him. Because he's saying the truth. We're being robbed. We're fucking being robbed. You had a lot of psychopaths that taking over the country. You should just expose that, and that's his mission. That's the thing he does better. So I really appreciate. I was before him. I was saying, okay, I'm not gonna do it in this country. I really don't want to live here because it's gonna become Venezuela, definitely. And I don't want to live in a country that's gonna taken over by. I don't want it to. I don't want to just walk by the streets and have people eating from the garbage, all the society just going down, your friends, everybody, the economy goes shit. You have like tons of inflation. Who wants to live in that country?
It's super. One thing that I see right now with all the presidential elections, with entrepreneurs, with businesses, is extremely a clear trend towards personal brands. We talked about it before. Trump won because you knew who Trump was. The thing that we knew about Kamala Harris was she was against Trump. I, I have no clue what she even. I mean, I'm not voting in the US. I'm Austrian, so I don't deeply research. But except that she doesn't like Trump and she doesn't want him in office, I have no clue what she actually stands for. We have an idea what Trump stands for. We have an idea what Elon Musk is standing for and what he does. Other billionaires, other rich people are in the background. He goes in he goes as far as possible in the lights to show his projects, to get funding, to get all the interest, to get everything going. In the same way, Javier Milei won, because I watched the election going down in Argentina, and I watched the candidates, but I don't even remember the names of the other candidates. I have no clue how they even called. And I watched the election. I was even staying up till like 1 in the morning to see the results and stuff like that. And I only know Javier Milei. So if you want to do anything in this new world, you have to be present and be a personal brand and be authentic and connect with people. Otherwise, they don't even know who you are, why they should trust you. That's why Donald Trump went to all the podcasts. Without all the podcast presence, without the connections with those content creators, he could have not connected with the US citizens, because he needs to build that personal brand. He needs to build the personal connection to this massive audience. In the same way with Javier Milei, he was just you know those videos where he rips something apart and like he throws punches at the piñata. That's just something that sticks in your brain, and that's something that I noticed. Like, if you want to do anything, it's way easier to do it as a personal brand. And those elite things like mainstream media, these news articles, those big government institutions, they're just crumbling down, and the power goes back to the individual. And the internet, podcasting, Nostra, Bitcoin, that's all things that point towards that individual empowerment against that thing. So I really hope that we don't have to move, like Europeans don't have to move to Argentina or to El Salvador or to America or to some other place because we have a socialist government. I really hope that we have that upstanding, that freedom movement all in the Western countries, maybe even like in all of the world. That's that, but that's just my hope. And I loved. I mean, we already 1 hour in, and we didn't really talk about Bitcoin. But I think it's a great podcast, anyways. And I think it really shines a light on why Bitcoin is also important.
Well, I do believe, yeah, that's important. Want to just sum of that thing up. The best thing about what happened with Milei, it wasn't Milei himself. It was the fact that all the people wanted that change. That it was sharing the same country, like the democracy. Most of the people wanted that kind of change, and they were willing to do that, and they were willing to risk that, even though it wasn't that popular. And I think that's the best thing to make it happen. You need to be the people to be woke, not woke, the term, to be awake. I think you need that in the country. Sometimes you don't have that luxury, like Venezuelans, for example. And Bitcoin, of course, it's always the safe haven. Bitcoin is the safe haven. I do believe that Bitcoin actually just turned me into a libertarian. That's why I can't separate Bitcoin from, I have actually a tattoo here with Bitcoin and the libertarian serpent, actually.
Nice.
I can't separate, like, I think Bitcoin separates money from state. So we should take that thing out of them. Definitely, the government is just something we haven't figured out a better solution for this, but it's actually a problem. It's always a problem. I always see the government with skeptic eyes, even with Milei. So I wouldn't be comfortable of having Milei in I don't know, even if he has the correct way of mind economics. I wouldn't be good if he were a dictator. You know, if it's something just okay, I know this is the correct economics. He just comes from heaven. No, I want the people to be to push for it, because you need a society to think that way. And I think Bitcoin, what it does is, if we take money out from the state, what else can we get out from him? That's the thing I started thinking. Like, we're gonna just take this leg of just fiat system, the ability to just devalue everyone, just to take energy from everyone remotely without permission. That's insane. That's insane. So I think it's really. I always say that Bitcoin is like something like a human revolution, some civilization revolution in that kind of level. Sometimes I do have this kind of argument with crypto guys. You know, the crypto people, the crypto bros. I don't know if you got those people there. We had a lot of them, mostly because sometimes, as I said, they use USDT, they start using Solana or any other bullshit, Ethereum, and then don't get that Bitcoin it separates money from state. They don't see that. They don't even, I don't know if they do care. They just want the numbers go up.
That's a good point. And I do see Bitcoin, from all the things that we've talked about, I think Bitcoin is the most important tool for individual empowerment. Money is so fundamental to our life. If we don't get money into our own control, everything else doesn't matter. Like, it's great that we have voices now on the internet, that we can speak freely, more freely. Twitter gets more free. We have Nostra that is completely free. But even if we have Nostra and it's completely free and everyone is using it, if we still can't control our own money because we still don't have, then you have us at the most vulnerable place. Like, money is the most important thing to fix, and everything else is second. so that's where I think it comes from, and I do think you also probably see that like that, and you probably have a real world example of that in Argentina from that.
I totally agree. That's why my favorite phrase is "fix the money, fix the world." I think that's the most important thing you need to do. Sometimes when I talk about Bitcoin, like, remember, I've been in the ecosystem like 11 years, so I talk to a lot of people, just trying to pitch to everyone. And some people might say, okay, but money is not the best important. Sometimes they say, no, money is not the most important thing in the world. Okay, so what is it? Your energy? Do you care about your energy, your time? What is it? Like yoga? What's your biggest passion? Well, let me know what's your biggest passion. Whatever you say, you need energy and your time. Okay, so you need to take care of your energy and time, and that's money. It's not something dirty. You should be able to talk about it. What is this? Actually, the best case scenario, like the Bitcoin utopia, would be that we don't talk about that thing. We wouldn't need to talk about how to fix money, because money would be just Bitcoin, and that's it. It wouldn't be a problem, you know. It's like it's like we're talking always about the medicine because we are ill, but once we get fiat out of the system, we just fix the thing. We need just a way to store our energy, just your energy. If you want to, just if you like football, you like yoga, whatever you like, You need energy. So you need a way to store energy. You sacrifice your own time to go to a job to get energy back for you to be able to just buy the stuff you need or contract the service you need or have enough time to do whatever you want to do. That's it. It's not that we are just obsessed with having a lot of money. We're obsessed for people to just be able to store and transfer their energy without anyone that can take their energy off. It has to be neutral. That's it. And some people, I think they just think we are materialistics or something like that. Like, oh, you just think about it. No, yeah, we're thinking about that because it's important for everyone. This is important for everyone. It's not just people. That's why I get against trading and all that shit, because it's not that you can do it. Anybody can do it. It's okay. You need to just increase your wealth. It's okay. But sometimes you can't explain Bitcoin through trading. That it makes like, it's like, are you gonna start from there instead of just explain the history of money? Just that's the first step, not trading. Like how to people to be rich and how to make people just sell it. I won't sell. I already sold. When you get your dollars off or your fiat currency off, you go to Bitcoin. That's it. You already just opt out. So I think it's really important to make this distinction. I think that's the Bitcoin movement is that, and as I told you before, I don't think Bitcoin is a technological revolution. It's not. Bitcoin is more like a human revolution, because if you just say that Bitcoin, I think some people take it wrong. They say it's a technological revolution because it uses technology to fix a problem. Okay, so every industry in the world uses technology, like this streaming or everything you do. Every industry in the world uses internet. Every industry. So the industry is technological then, because it's using technology. Technology is a way you humans use. It's just a tool. It's just a way we humans just innovate. That's it. So every revolution from now on, we're gonna be a technological revolution? No. This is a civilization revolution. We're taking back money. You don't have to be a nerd or a technical person to use Bitcoin. Maybe now we're just building the tools, and maybe the nerds or technical people are just more popular because we're just building the path. But it's not I wouldn't say it's a technological revolution, because that makes people think that it's just a nerd thing, or you just need to be an expert, tech savvy, or whatever. And it's just money. Of course, you need to build the tools first, but it's just money, and money is for everyone. It's not a technological revolution in that sense. It's just a human revolution, civilization revolution, maybe, but it's more like a movement. I do believe Bitcoin is more. It's more like a movement.
I love that. And I especially love what you said about trading, because there are a lot of traders. And I think the only people that really make money in trading are the people, the content creators that make online courses about trading. And those are probably the only real people that make actual money with a sustainable business model, with trading. All the other people just trying to get a little bit more, but then they have a down year and they lose everything again. So look at the richest 500 people list, and there are no traders in there. There are builders in there. There are people that actually did something. And the best trade you can make is just holding Bitcoin.
Exactly.
I worked my ass off the whole year. I founded this whole Bitcoin media company. I was extremely successful with it, but I didn't even make a fraction of what I made with just holding Bitcoin. With just my Bitcoin stack, measured in US dollar, outperformed all my income that I made with the podcast. trading your the scarcest asset, the scarcest money ever is the stupidest thing I ever heard. I don't know how people like, oh yeah, I did all the research, I know what Bitcoin is, and now I'm gonna sell it. Like, no, you obviously
You didn't get it.
you did not
You
get
didn't
it.
get it. Yeah, it's really really weird. Like sometimes we got yeah trading. I don't I don't gonna say it's a scam because some people might get money out of it and some people want, like, I do believe that Bitcoin, like the Bitcoin market or crypto market, all the cryptocurrencies combined, I think we're gonna get like 80% Bitcoin dominance, and then we're gonna end up with 20% of shitcoins or whatever, like just a circus of people just trying to just multiply Bitcoin. But for example, one thing that with like crypto that sometimes people say, hey, you're so hard, sometimes you're Bitcoin maxis and whatever. Well, the thing with my point is I don't mind if you use shitcoins or any other altcoin as long as you recognize that Bitcoin is superior. I'm a Bitcoin maxi for that. I don't know. But what I mean is Bitcoin is like if you just make a timeline for the human history, you're gonna have some inventions there. You probably have the wheel, the internet, and Bitcoin. So in that timeline, like that human timeline, you're gonna get those inventions, like human inventions that actually change all the civilization. You're gonna just write it down in history books. Okay, Netflix is not gonna be there. Spotify will not be there. Ethereum and Solana and whatever the fuck comes next will not be there. I'm sorry. So the difference is you could use that tools, but if you put those tools in the same place that you put like Google Drive or any other service that just actually work, Google Maps or maybe Riverside or whatever service that you're using for a specific purpose as a utility, I don't mind if you use USDT. If you have something that actually works, I'm not gonna go against you. Sometimes I talk with Bitcoin maxis and they say, no, fuck everything. They're just like, no, it's okay. If they say, okay, USDT just fills a purpose right now, or any other service, if you consider them just services, it's okay. What are you gonna do with Instagram? You're gonna just delete Instagram, YouTube, any other service? No. If you consider them as service that provides some value for you, it's okay. I got a problem when people just come by and think, for example, that Dogecoin is gonna take over Bitcoin because Elon Musk we're gonna just send a rocket with Doge. You know that story? They think that Doge is going to the moon because Elon is actually gonna build a rocket with Doge painted. This is insane.
And it's so crazy because Elon is on record saying that he has significantly more Bitcoin than Dogecoin. He said, like, I think 10x more Bitcoin than Dogecoin. And with Tesla, with SpaceX, with all his companies, he only ever bought Bitcoin and never anything else. So Elon Musk is a case where I have to say, watch what he's doing and not what he's saying, because he's talking about Dogecoin and buying Bitcoin because he's not an idiot.
But like, I have this conversation the other day, and it was like, "Are you serious?" This guy came along with 20k dollars, US dollars worth of Dogecoin, and people do believe that, and people are just buying meme coins, and they think they're gonna just like, what are you saying? Like, are you honest? Are you listening to you? And some people they say, as you said, like, no, I did my research. I'm a Bitcoiner, and what I say sometimes is, having Bitcoin doesn't make you a Bitcoiner. If you have a little bit of sats, there's, I don't know, in Binance or whatever, you're not a Bitcoiner. You're not. For me, maybe I'm a little bit radical, but for me to be a Bitcoiner, you have to be a libertarian. I'm sorry, because you need to just know that the government is a problem, that the government is the worst enemy, that the government has a lot of power, and the government is the one that has fiat currencies. is the one that invented this shit. Is the one that's pushing for this shitcoin Ponzi. So you need to know what is capable of. Like you need to know that, and if you don't know that, you probably end up with different things because like you're not gonna value that, and when the things might get worse because now I think we didn't start the Bitcoin battle yet. I think with the ETFs and like the Bitcoin is just in the same bed as the fiat system, I think it might be a problem then. I don't know what can happen then. I don't, like, of course, numbers go up. That's a good thing. Yeah, perfect. But we need to be vigilant that Bitcoin is not taking over for, I don't know, the miners or the pools, or maybe they just start buying and just taking a lot, and we might get a 51%. And I don't mean a 51% attack, reverse a transaction double spend. I don't think the 51% is that. I do believe that if they just push really hard on trying to get Bitcoin as they are doing now, and the governments were gonna get in, they're gonna start just accessing the pools, and maybe there are some transactions that you're not gonna be able to do, and maybe they're gonna have a majority of the minor transactions, and you're gonna get you're gonna need some permission, or you need to just have a whitelist or something. It's not that I think it's gonna happen, but what I mean is like you need to be vigilant. I think that's not gonna happen because the Bitcoin community is hard. It's hard enough to fight against that and just point that out and start doing stuff about it and know how to do just mixed transactions or whatever to not be able to just you track down things. But we got these enemies inside, like chain analysis or any other things to track transactions. So to be able to just fight that back, you need a strong community with values. That's the thing that crypto people don't have. They don't matter about that. If that happens and they say, okay, now if the government takes and okay, we're going to be better because regulation is good. No, I think it might be like, I don't know what do you think about that point.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, and you can tell that crypto people are actually afraid of regulations, especially when Gary Gensler tried to go against Bitcoin, but also against crypto people. A lot of crypto people were like, "Oh, like what is he doing?" and stuff like that. Bitcoiners also, but Bitcoiners are like, we don't really care. Like Gary Gensler cannot turn off Bitcoin. He can maybe postpone the Bitcoin ETF, and now it's here anyways. But it's not possible. And I feel like when you talk with altcoin people, they really fear the regulation, and that's, I think, one reason, because they all know if a big government really wants to, they can shut down all the altcoins. Like if the US government picks out like, oh yeah, let's see Solana, okay, who's responsible? Those 4 people, let's turn it off. It's done tomorrow. It's not decentralized. Like you can turn off altcoins if the government, if China, if the USA, if any big government really wants to, they can turn those things off because it's not decentralized. Bitcoin, you cannot turn off. Like there's not like, oh, let's visit that one guy and then he will turn off the servers and that's done. Like, and that's where I think over the long run, the only altcoins that will survive are coins that are issued from governments or are connected with governments and government approved. So, for example, stable coins, as long as the government approves of them, they will be here.
Yeah.
Because the government likes them, and they can control them, and they can have influence in them. And the government's like, yeah, let's do that. People think they're free, and we have the control. Why not? But in the long run, all altcoins will die eventually, either because of free market or because the government will shut them down. And the only thing that will survive is altcoins that are approved of governments, or maybe even like from the government to a certain extent. I always hear about Ripple, and it will be used by governments. I'm like, yeah, you should not cheer for that. Like,
Like who holds Ripple? That now I sometimes I say, is this thing still going on? Do they have someone just backing this shit?
I have no
Ripple.
clue. I don't research altcoins very deeply. I did back in the day, and then I was researching. Oh, is there maybe something? Is that because nothing works if it's not decentralized. What we are trying to accomplish, it needs to be fully decentralized. It needs to be fully out of the control of the government. Otherwise, it will not work. And so Bitcoin is the only one that checks that point. And even Bitcoin is not perfect. I fear mining pool centralization, and we have to address that, and we have to get more pools, and we have to do something for the template creation of mining pools to really be censorship resistance. So even Bitcoin is not at 100% decentralization, but it's the best thing that we have, by far, and the most best thing that we have, and it's not able to be turned off in an instant from the government. It seems like governments more actually want to adopt it and wants to be in Bitcoin. Now we have a French Parliament member of the EU now talking about a national Bitcoin reserve, strategic Bitcoin reserve on EU level. I think like 2 days ago we had also 1 day ago the German finance minister saying, why are we not adopting Bitcoin? We should do that. So like, with America going first, with Argentina doing that, with El Salvador being since 3 years now fully bullish on Bitcoin, I think we will see countries actually embracing Bitcoin in the next 10 years. I think, but one caveat I want to mention here: I don't like when countries buy Bitcoin. I want individuals to buy Bitcoin.
Exactly. I do. Yeah, exactly the same thing. I would prefer that individuals do it first. Of course, for money, like numbers go up. Yeah, definitely. I do believe you say just 10 years. I think it's gonna go up in like when Trump comes in and just put it as reserve, strategic reserve. Yeah, every other country come along and become might skyrocket like we never seen before. But yeah, the thing is, that's why I always try to mention the community part, the movement, the beacon movement, the beacon as a movement. Not just a technology. It's a movement, because it's the movement that, like, the technology is just a way to just figure this out. It's a way of solving the problem. Like some people say, oh, what would happen if I know something happened with Bitcoin or whatever, the back, whatever, something that breaks it down. So do you think like I would just stop fighting? Do you think that I'm gonna be okay? So you think that most of we people are gonna just say, okay, we lost? No, we're gonna start over. I'm better. I'm better. And the thing is, this is a war. So we're gonna just make it again. We're gonna make it again and better, because that's the thing. We'll never be. We. It's like, I think that's the Bitcoin spirit that is strong. We're not gonna give up, and that's the biggest difference between Bitcoin and crypto and altcoin people. What the first one would be, we don't sell. It's not that we are expecting a price and say, okay, when this reach this price, I'm gonna sell. No, maybe you can just, I don't know, maybe just take a little bit of it and convert it into your dream house or whatever. But it's not that you're just trying to say, okay, in this price, I'm gonna convert it back to fiat. No, never. And the difference with that's a very big difference between Bitcoiners and altcoiners. Altcoiners, they are in Ethereum, they just call it ultrasound money or whatever the fuck they are saying. But they have a price. I'm pretty sure they have a price where they just exit. And they are not sure if it's Ethereum, or maybe if Ethereum doesn't work, they go with Solana or any other thing that goes popular. So Bitcoiners, we're not selling. We already sold. We already made the exit. And then we are just committed to this kind of fight. Like this kind of podcast, for example, we're just really passionate about it. We really believe about changing the world. We really believe in this. So it's not just a technology for us. That's what I mean when I say this. It's not just a technology. It's a movement, and that's the thing. It needs to be said, of course. I think in conferences as well, where they just mix it with blockchain and they just say Bitcoin blockchain, and then when you open the door of blockchain, it's like, what do you mean that blockchain? I'm gonna come back with the thing you said about Lightning Network. So if you go to altcoiners, like most of cryptocurrencies, any other, they just put blockchain to everything. Like when they just run out of space and the fees goes up, they just create another blockchain as layer 2, or it's just another blockchain, and then layer 3, and then you have multiple blockchains. So you have a problem, no worries. You just build another blockchain to just make a roll up or C-sync or whatever you say. But it's always the same solution for the problem. You just create another blockchain with same EVM that is compatible with all the rest. That's all you got. Create another blockchain. That's the biggest problem about doing that, is that when fees go up and you need to create another blockchain, you need to move all your users. And again, it's not a technological thing. It's the network effect what is valuable. If it was just the technology, you could just clone Bitcoin and that's it. You have the same value. No, it's not. It's not the technology. It's the network effect as well. So every time you just create another layer and just move the users back to another layer, say, oh, hey guys, we are now here. You get the liquidity, you get the apps, you get your users, you just move them to a cheaper place. You just break down the network effect. Some people might get behind and some people might say, okay, now I'm going to go to Cardano or whatever. And then when the fees goes down, people go back, and just people, they are all nomads, the crypto nomads. Just going anywhere. They don't give a shit about the specific blockchain. They just move. They have the funds with USDT or whatever. They just move back to another blockchain. So in Bitcoin, we do things differently. It's not that we put blockchain to everything. Of course, we got layer 2s, and you got like drive chains or side chains, whatever. We have Lightning. Lightning is able to scale without the need of having another blockchain. Actually, it's so smart that when you have the more users, the more nodes, the more channels you do have, the better it works. It's not that like you don't have a problem with that. You actually have a very good scaling solution. You just scale to kind of, I don't mean infinity, but you can get like millions of users and you don't get more fees. Actually, it's more efficient. So we got these things solved, and the other crypto bullshit people, that they are able to just bend the rules, modify them as they please. Even with that, they are not able to solve a single problem or just lower the transaction fees and the speed of transactions. They can't. So Bitcoin is superior in every way. In every way, we are able to just send a microsat, a millisat, where you can send just instantly anywhere in the world for nothing of fees, and you are able to just send 10,000 Bitcoins the other part of the world with just $2 of fees and wait 10 minutes. We already got that solved out. We have reserve of value. You already got that. And you have medium of exchange. You're able to transact those things. Small, tiny, micro, and just large as fuck. We're good. Like Bitcoin just is superior. We already just won in that sense, in every sense.
That's great, yeah. And it turned out that we talk about Bitcoin in anyways now.
Sorry.
It's impossible to not talk about Bitcoin. Actually, really cool. But yeah, the thing that you said in the beginning, and I know we are already kind of in the end, but if you have still a few minutes, I think it was really interesting what you said. That once all the countries come in, once the things that get moving, that a law of diminishing returns is BS, I think, because we are now at like what 1% adoption, 2% adoption maybe, and once the snowball really gets going and this nation state FOMO, individual FOMO, corporation FOMO is getting started, and it didn't get started till now. Like we don't see anything till now. That we're now above 100K, and I think like I saw it 180K even yesterday. That's nothing. That's
No,
nothing of what
exactly.
to come. So this diminishing returns, that's BS. Like we are going. I really think the next 5-10 years will be completely surprising for everyone. Even Bitcoiners will be like, "Oh, like what? That happened?"
Yeah, this is no, it's gonna. I think it's gonna go to the moon. Um, I don't know if I want to risk a price, but the thing is, yes, we are, because we actually get used to that. Like, even though we've seen, I've seen personally seen Bitcoin rose like 5,000 times. I still sometimes when I feel the price, I still think it linearly. Oh, it might be just one price, but once you get like 100K, for example, the Bitcoiners are chill. It's not that, oh, I like, no, we are just okay. What's the next target? And it's like, and once it gets like increasing, nobody gets surprised if you just take the ticker right now and it's 120. Okay, and then it goes from that point up, and it's like it goes forever up. I think it's gonna go forever up. And the thing is with that bias is there's gonna be a point that, well, I think it's dangerous right now. You're losing money if you don't have any Bitcoin. I think you're losing money if you don't value your wealth in Bitcoin. You need that would be the start. Just measure all your wealth in Bitcoin. That's the thing you need to do the most. So even if you have a house or whatever, just take into account that you're paying to have that kind of house. So if it's your dream house and you're with your children, well, you need to take into account that you're losing Bitcoin. Because if you value all that house, that property in Bitcoin, and you end up like 2, 3, or 4 years, and you got, I don't know, 40% of Bitcoin, just measure that. That's the cost of living in that house. You need to know that. You need to measure your wealth in Bitcoin. That's the correct way of measuring things. Not dollar anymore. Just measuring in sats. And that's the thing that I think when we switch that kind of mindset, we not only we just switch to low time preference, but also we got just make better decisions because you just use your energy wisely.
I 100% agree with you here. And I think using Bitcoin as a unit of account is an absolute superpower. But it can be frustrating for people if they measure their revenue and their salaries in Bitcoin and see it constantly going down. Like it should motivate you and not depress you. That's for sure.
Well, sometimes I can't remember who said this, but yeah, like with Bitcoin, if you got like last 10 years, it has an increase of 65% annually, average on average, probably more right now. And the thing is, that doesn't mean you can't do startups or just create your own business. If that sometimes creating business is the whole purpose of the thing. Sometimes you just don't make a profit in Bitcoin. Sometimes the thing you matter the most is, okay, I like doing this. Maybe it won't. It's not better than just holding Bitcoin, but definitely more fun because there's not much fun of holding Bitcoin. Sometimes you need to just create your own thing, and it's much better. And well, that's the thing. Everybody should choose how they spend their time and energy. Some is stored and some is actually alive. You spend your own time, and sometimes you spend the time you already used and stored. Sometimes it's that. So maybe it's a different way. I know what you mean. Sometimes it might be frustrating. If you say, okay, I'm losing money, like doing any business or whatever, just investing in your own business. But I think it's just a personal thing, a personal valuation.
The question becomes: do you want to see your unit of account decreasing? Like if we say, okay, you have dollars, would you rather have more dollar salary every year, but you can buy less things with that dollar salary? Or would you have a Bitcoin salary where the Bitcoin salary is going down, but you can actually buy more things with that than the US dollar salary? So like, it will be hard, that switch on a global level, where we have all of a sudden discussions of like, oh, I'm sorry, we have to lower your salary this year, or we cannot give you a raise. But with the lower raise, you can actually buy more. And now we have the situation where you get a higher raise, but you can afford less. And I don't care about the nominal unit thing. I want to increase my purchasing power,
Exactly.
not the
This is the
nominal
matter
thing.
most. Exactly. That's the thing that matter the most. We as Argentinians we got that thing very clearly. Like people, everybody just suddenly became millionaire in pesos. Like we actually used the term millionaire, and it made sense for for a while. But then every salary, everybody just uh, earns millions. You know, we actually just have a party. We celebrated one sat, one peso. Like actually, one sat became. We have a website. It's called one satoshi one peso.r, and we were tracking the satoshi against the peso. And satoshi just turned over. Like the it's insane. It's insane. Like the Bitcoin atom, it nobody just talk about sats in just back 5 years, 6 years ago. Nobody measured that in sats, and now the sat is able to just take over the peso. This was a big milestone achievement. I hope it does the same thing to the US dollar
It
someday.
it will, probably not tomorrow, but it will. Perfect.
Hopefully.
Thank you so much, Agustin, for being on the show. I have one question that each and every one of my guests get, and the question is, what can we learn from you besides Bitcoin?
Well, I think I am a programmer myself, and I do like to create. I really develop things open source development. So if people want to just come with me and just know how to build stuff, how to just start growing, start making researches. I actually I'm very good at creating the biggest Bitcoin community in Argentina. So maybe if someone is anywhere in the world and wants to build a community, I already did this here. So if you want to just approach me, I can like give you some tips on how to get that rolling.
Really interesting. Cool. Perfect. And thank you so much for that. We have another end routine where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest is. And the next question from the previous guest is 20 years from today, how will Bitcoin have changed the global political landscape?
Wow, that's 20 years. Good question. Hopefully, 20 years, I do believe that Bitcoin will or take over or die. But anyway, I would say just Bitcoin movement. Um, I would think that we in 20 years, I think we'll be in some kind of Bitcoin standard. We definitely we would never have this question about is it just like magic internet money, fake money of nerds? No, of course, no. Everybody would know about Bitcoin. Everybody would be just store their money, their wealth, their energy in Bitcoin. Though you're gonna have some countries, still countries with fiat currency. Of course, fiat currency is not never gonna die because it's gonna just reinvent itself. just having Bitcoin at the back and just taking the Bitcoin out of people. They're going to do that a lot of times in the future. So I do believe that hopefully with that kind of limit in the government will not be able to spend what they don't have. So I think we're gonna I am very positive. I'm optimistic on the future in 20 years, much better than we are today. Like the governments will have to restrain themselves, and people are gonna have a personal responsibility and sovereignty with Bitcoin.
100%, I agree to that. Thank you so much, Agustin, for being on the show. Before I let you go, where can people find you, ask you questions, and reach out to you?
Well, they can find me on Twitter. I'm Agustin Kassis, or they can just look at me in La Crypta. You can, if you want to, just put the link there. It's the biggest Bitcoin community in Argentina. You can just come and see. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Telegram. We have the very active Discord as well. So we just talk about everything. You just welcome newbies, and we just talk about heavy workshop, technical related things. So you can follow me there.
Thank you so much for being on. Thank you so much also for everyone that's watching and listening, for joining us today. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Robin.